All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we have on the show Shalom from Shalom Photography. Shalom, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to have you, man. I've been following your work for a little bit since I came across you. And yeah, you definitely have some really amazing stuff. So yeah,
Sure.
it's an honor to be able to have you on.
Yeah.
Um, how long have you been doing photography for? And how long have you been in the industry in general?
So I've been it started out as a hobby for me. It actually started, so I don't have the story of, some people, it started off as a kid, it started
Right.
out really for me. Actually, I started in 2020,
Okay.
2020, 2021. That's when I started. That's when I got
Mhm.
my camera. It was during the pandemic, there was a lockdown. I'm married, I'm home with my wife. She's pregnant at the time. So at that time, what we do mostly is, watch Netflix, watch TV, right? I mean, you can't really go out. It was a really tough time during that time. So there was this show I really loved that my wife and I watched together, which is This Is Us. I don't know if you ever seen that show. It's called This Is Us. It's on NBC, I believe. It's a really good show. I really love the show. It really deals a lot with family life, and one of the characters on the show, I remember, got a camera, and one of his thing was, he always, has a camera to tape his, family, document family pictures and all that, and I really loved that, and I had a kid on the way. In my mind, I'm like, you know what? This is a great idea. Let me get a camera. You don't have to pay for photographer. So I
Yeah.
got a camera. It was kind of expensive, but I was like, for some reason, I just really loved the idea. So I got a camera and I started taking pictures. My wife and I would go out for a walk. I would take my camera with me, take pictures, and I really started to enjoy it. And 2 years later, 2022, April, you know, past 2 years I've been learning, have been, taking a lot of pictures. I've been failing and learning new things and trying to see where I fit into this field. So I decided, let me start a business, and let me, see what this thing can do. And that's why I'm here.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. How has it been so far? Getting clients, working with different types of people. I know you're doing a lot of portraits and some events and things like that. But how's it been the first year or so in business?
First year so far, it's been really good. It's been really tough too because I guess starting a business is
Yeah,
usually very
for
stressful, and
sure.
especially for photography, it's a lot
Yeah.
you really have to do that I had to learn. So it's been really good. I think I've been really blessed by the outcome. I started off for my photography. I started off going out and going around businesses and speaking to them and talking to them about if they need a photographer or things like that. And that was really successful. I really met some great clients through that, and that referred me to other people, which really helped my business to take off. So I do marketing on Instagram and Facebook and website. And it's just step by step, and still learning, still growing. Still not where I want to be in the business, but uh thinking back to where when I started to now, I would say it's been doing really good.
Yeah, awesome, man. Dude, that's great to hear because absolutely, it's tough starting out, especially like you said in photography.
Mhm.
And as a videographer myself, same kind of line of work and same, of course, there's a lot of differences, but the initial, that initial phase of just starting out, getting work, figuring out what your style is and how to present yourself also um, is a lot. So
Sure.
you've definitely been doing a good job, figuring it out and everything. Your page looks great, and I can tell you work with a lot of different types of people also. Tell me a little bit about your experience with weddings, your approach to weddings, how many you've done, and sort of along those lines.
So when I started in photography, as you know, I started in portraits. I do headshots, portraits. I do a lot of work outdoors, like outdoor shoots. I work a lot with flash photography. I'm really big into that. That's actually what kind of got me to fall in love in photography. I like shooting at night during the day. Um, But then a friend of mine was a wedding photographer, and he introduced me to this agency that, they need photographers. So um I joined that. I started shooting weddings, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. My favorite part of it, I would say, will be just because I'm a married guy myself. I remember my wedding day and how I felt and how the emotions and everything. So I kind of get to feel that again in a way through them, through the couple that's getting married. And that's kind of a beautiful thing to see that, oh wow, this is the whole family's here. Sorry about that, for this big occasion, this big moment. Just to share in that is a powerful thing. And it's, you get to meet really good people, get to meet, because if you think about it, this is their one of the most important moment of their life, and you're a part of that. So that's a big thing. They will remember you,
Yeah.
so I love that part about it. The connection that you draw from it, and it's fun. I love also presenting the couple with a beautiful picture, and they're happy. Their face is wild. Um, I've done When it comes to weddings, I can probably count on my 10 fingers how many weddings I've done. I haven't
Mhm.
done, too many weddings. I do want to get more into weddings. As I said, I do mostly portrait work. I work a lot with digital creators and influencers. So, with fashion and all that. So I do a lot of that, but I do want to get more into weddings because apart from the agency, I haven't really marketed weddings as much in my business. But
Right.
I am working on that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I think you definitely are the right type of photographer for weddings, I think, because your approach, as you enjoy documenting the day, presenting the couple, with a great image and being a part of their day. I think is something that I really enjoy also. And something that,
Do you
if
do
you
wedding?
if
Yeah, sorry.
I
Do you
do,
do
yeah.
video?
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome,
Primarily video for weddings, yeah.
awesome.
And the thing is, when I was starting out, and I always tell people this, but when I was starting out, people would say either don't do weddings because it's stressful,
Mhm.
or they would be like, you kind of have to do weddings because that's where the money's at.
Yeah, yeah.
Which neither is really a good thing. But and I what I realized is I really enjoy doing weddings a lot for the same reasons that you mentioned. And I think to be able to do weddings long term, or even just to do them well, you got to have that
Enjoy it.
enjoyment element.
It has to be something where it's not a burden for you. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some wedding could be more stressful than some. Also depends on who you're dealing with. Like, sometimes you might be dealing with not the couples, but a family member or something like that.
Yeah,
That that might that might be a little difficult. You get what I'm saying? So, but the whole scope of the matter, if you really focus on the couple, I think you will really love doing weddings.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Um, well, I do try to keep these interviews short so we can wrap up soon. But I did want to ask you in regards to maybe a couple who's planning a wedding, or even just a couple who's planning like an engagement shoot or some portrait shots or anything like that. Someone who's looking into either booking you or someone else for photography. Do you have any advice for someone who's looking for like a wedding photographer or currently planning a wedding? Anything to look for or keep in mind?
Sure. I mean, for wedding photography, obviously you will need to do your research. I mean, because you want to make sure you get the right person for a wedding, because this is a one-time thing. There's no do-overs. um you don't want somebody that would not. I've heard stories of photographers that don't even show up for the wedding and they've been paid and everything. So that's kind of like a traumatic thing, I would think for the couple. So I would say, make sure make sure the photographer you're hiring, make sure you're familiar with their work. They have a work maybe on a website, on online. Make sure there's a meeting set up between you and the photographer to know exactly what you're looking for, what they're gonna provide, and all that. Just is especially, and definitely for a wedding, you want to meet months ahead of time. just to be on the same page, and then probably later on, before maybe closer to the wedding day, you want to meet again, just to, and that's what something that I would do if I'm, if somebody booked me right now, I would make sure to get all that details down, check up like every, almost every month, basically. Oh, what's the update? You want that for wedding? Wedding is definitely the biggest work, I would think, out of all the
Yeah.
wedding, out of all the photography niches. Um,
Yeah.
for portraits, and other niches as well, maternity, family, just make sure there's a meeting set up between you and the photographer. Make sure you've seen his or her work, and make sure it's something that you like, because every photographer has a style, like different style. So make sure this is a style that you want to hire, you want to look like.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's so important with weddings, and it's great to hear you say that also, because when people book you, they're not just booking you for the day out, but they're
Mm,
booking and they're investing in a relationship, and you being alongside them throughout the journey, right?
sure.
And I think that your approach to that, and you seeing it that way also, is something that I think is really, I think a lot of photographers would really do well to have more of that, approach also. And I think that's so valuable on the couple's side, to have someone there who can walk alongside them and just be there for them. And even just like, things on the day of, thinking to grab them, water or a drink from the bar, things like that when they're,
Definitely.
busy and in the moment and things like that. It's really great. So
Definitely.
awesome, man. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank
And
you very
so,
much.
yeah,
Thank you.
Shalom Photography. I will drop his link in the comments, so you can check him out and check his page. But yeah, man, I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate what you're doing. This actually is really good. It's a good idea. When I was learning photography, one of my biggest help was podcasts.
Mm.
That's where I really learned a lot of business side, and even the technical side. So it's a beautiful thing. I think this is great. I think this is gonna be a big thing.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. And thank you for tuning in, everybody. And we will see you next time.